What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Inside the Green Room.
Cheer.
Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. You guys already know what to do. Find us on Instagram at Inside Green Room and also on Twitter at Green Room Inside. And make sure you subscribe, rate, review, all the likes, all the follows. We all appreciate that so we can continue to give you the goods. And I must say, Danny, I would like a green star, some type of commendment or some type of recognition, because tonight, Monday evening, Harrison Sanford, dedicated New York Knicks fan, left Madison Square Garden in the middle of the third quarter to record this podcast and had to watch the ending of a scintillating game on my couch. Green star, please, Danny.
I don't know if I give you that much credit, bro. You still had to make us wait till the game was over. You might as well stay.
No, then it would have been another. You know how hard it is to get out of arenas.
For sure. 30 minutes. I get it. Smart move. We'll give you I don't know about green star, maybe a shit brown star or something.
Yo, get him. All right, let's just get to the. Wait, by the way, shout out to the Knicks for getting another win. Not too bad performance there from you, Quentin Grimes, in your return to Madison Square Garden. Maybe we'll talk about some famous return games in a later episode, but let's talk about what we have seen and heard in the National Basketball Association and in amateur basketball. And we'll start with one, LeBron James. And we won't talk about the Lakers' current situation. We'll wait to the next part of the show to talk about them in the Western Conference. But let's talk about LeBron James' son. On Monday, some news came out, or an update came out to Jonathan Givony's 2024 NBA mock draft. And Bronny James, who was at once predicted to be in the draft, was taken off of Jonathan Givony's draft board. And it resulted in LeBron James writing some tweets and eventually deleting them. I'm going to read you some of the tweets here. Okay. Can y'all please let the kid be a kid and enjoy college basketball? The work and results will ultimately do the talking no matter what he decides to do. If y'all don't know, he doesn't care what a mock draft says. He just works. Earned, not given. Continued. And to all the other kids out there striving to be great, just keep your head down, blinders on, and keep grinding. These mock drafts doesn't matter one bit. I promise you. Only the work matters. Let's talk real basketball, people. Obviously, LeBron James, because he committed so many tweets to it, he obviously was taken aback maybe by Bronny taking off the draft board or how some of the commentary came out after he was taken off the draft board. But let's keep it real. Bronny has not had a one-and-done type of freshman season at USC. He's averaging only 5 points, but you also have to give him some type of leeway here. We have to remember that during the offseason going into his freshman year at USC, he suffered a cardiac arrest. So there's a lot of caveats here. Just because he's not a one-and-done doesn't mean he can't be a productive NBA player one day. But obviously, LeBron was obviously in some way, some form, impacted by this update to the mock draft and all the commentary that came after it. I wonder what your thoughts on the situation are, Danny.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just because you're not an NBA player right now doesn't mean you won't be, or you won't be a good NBA player if you're not a great college player. That has nothing to do with anything. Obviously, you've seen the comparisons. People will take the comparisons to a negative routine and compare them to other people that haven't done well, and people compare them to Jimmy Butler. Like, this is how some guys start out, even guys in their rookie year. But I think the response for Bron was more so toward the media people and outside people putting the pressure and expectation on Bronny because he was taken off. I'm sure the responses after that, I don't think he cares about the draft board. It's just the people talking about him after the draft board situation happened. It's like, he's a kid. Let him be a kid. Stop having these expectations. Stop having, all this attention toward. Obviously, he knows it comes with the territory. But
yes,
it goes back to what Austin Rivers was saying, man. We hate the fact that we want to see him play with Bron, but also on the other side of it, we see that Bronny kind of wants to live his own life and have his own path, and it's hard for him to do that when he's under such a spotlight. It's hard for him to just be a kid, but he's been this way since he was a baby, and unfortunately for his dad, he's been that way too since he was 18 years old, which they've been kind of under a microscope for a really long time. It's fun. It has some advantages, but in the same breath, it kind of sucks. You can't be normal. You can't live a normal life. You can't just be a normal kid because there's expectations of you. So I think Bron is absolutely correct. Mock drafts and draft boards do not matter. Who cares? End of the day, there's a lot of guys undrafted or second-round draft picks or not even on draft boards that have become really good pros. And there's some guys that are on draft boards that don't make it or stick in the NBA. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So we will see how Bronny pans out. So when the time comes, it'll come. And, he's a great player. He's going to be a great player at some point. But, let him have fun. Let him enjoy his college experience, something his dad never got a chance to do. And instead it's his first year coming back off of health issues. So it's going to take some time.
Yeah, for sure. And everything that I understand the sentiment that LeBron James gave, but LeBron also knows the media all too well. We are going to cover his son. And if his son gets taken off a draft board, we are going to treat that like news, because you know what? It is news because it is entertaining. It is interesting to see the developments and the progress of Bronny James, whether it's upward progress or going backwards. We're going to track it. That's what we do. That is what the people want, frankly. So it's more of this is going to happen. It just is what it is. I think you'll just have to accept it.
It comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory. This is what it is.
When just the same fact as, it's earned. Yes, earned, not given, but the same breath. Some people may be saying something different, like, oh, the fact that he was on draft boards is because of his dad. You know what I'm saying? But we all know Bronny and Bron, both great players, and they earned everything that they've gotten. But said when you put this kid on draft boards, no matter who it is, if they get taken off, if you're in the top 10 or top 20 on a draft board, and all of a sudden by the end of the season, that could have been, you name it, anybody. Kid that played with Sierra Canyon with Bronny a couple of years ago, who's in Charlotte Hornets now.
Amari Bailey.
Amari Bailey. Yeah, Amari Bailey.
The way
if he was
whose mother was dating Drake at one point.
Yeah, that's all the drama. Everybody wants to hear the drama.
See, but that's why people were interested.
The gossip. People are interested because they want to hear gossip. The basketball fans want to talk about basketball.
It's entertainment, and then it's sports. It's sports entertainment.
But even if Amari Bailey, who is not the son of LeBron James, was in a top 10 or top 20 on draft boards, and next after playing a 1 year of college is off the draft boards, it's going to be news. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of who it is, it's even bigger news because it's LeBron James' son, and it's Bronny, who's been hyped up or been, given this platform since he was, before he was a teenager.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the business. Obviously, we wish him well, and we would all love to see him in the NBA. So
for sure,
we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. As I'm doing this podcast with the guy who stayed in college for 4 years and has had a very long NBA career. So anything is on the table. This is just a step in a long road. So that's just how we have to treat it. But we are going to cover it with the utmost attention because we've been giving LeBron James the utmost attention since he stepped into the NBA and even before that. Exactly. Yeah. Keeping with the college theme, though, Danny, on Monday as well, there's a lot of controversy, discussions, talks about what happened this weekend at Wake Forest University, where Duke was upset by the Demon Deacons. And as they were being upset, or after they were upset, the fans stormed the court. And while storming the court, they have appeared to lead to the injury of star center Kyle Filipowski for the Duke Blue Devils. Now, there's a lot of different reactions and suggestions what we should do. Put security around the visiting team. They should put Jay Billis, a former Duke guy who works for ESPN. He kind of went out of line talking about maybe you should detain these kids for coming on the court, and maybe they should have some type of citations or things like that. Come on, bro. Let's go a little bit too far. You obviously played at North Carolina. I don't know for sure, but I'm sure you've been court stormed.
Yes.
Your thoughts on what happened this weekend? Give me some flashbacks of when it happened to you, and what do you think should happen next?
It's an interesting thing because it makes the game exciting, especially for the fans, the college students. You can't take it away. You can kind of, I guess, maneuver it to make it safer some way, somehow. Because we were top team in the country almost every year I was there, except for my freshman year. We were in, top 25 most of the years. Junior and senior, for sure, number one school at some point. And we would lose to a team, in our conference, whether it was Maryland or, Virginia Tech or something like that. And they would storm the court. Back then, I don't know how it is now, but they would have, ropes for us to walk out. Teams shake hands. They would have ropes to try to keep the student section or students out of our face. But those ropes still don't stop students. There's been plenty of times where some of us, one of my teammates, have gotten into fights almost got into a fight with the fan while they're storming the court. They're talking shit, going back and forth. So fights almost happen. But listen, I didn't see the game. I don't know how close it was when the buzzer went off. But if you know the buzzer going off and you're losing, why are you still that far on the court? You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be walking towards your bench at some point, getting off the court, knowing they're about to storm. But they could find a way to, I guess, funnel the students to storm at a certain direction, you know, away from the team's bench, the away team's bench, or, you know, be on the middle of the court. But as a player, as a D1 athlete, you got to have better reflexes, man. Get the hell out of there. What are you doing? What are you doing? How are you letting a regular student run you over? You know what I'm saying? Like, these aren't. It's
a mass.
I understand. It's not fucking bulls, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not a stampede of animals. These are, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you see them coming, you know, stand your ground or pushing people out the way or get out of there fast. You know what I'm saying? You're a D1 athlete. Get to your bench, or you know this about to happen. Move out. You know, it's just. There's many things that go into this. Obviously, I'm not going to blame the kid, but it's like, yo, you can protect yourself a little better. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like you're only saying this because he's a dookie. If this was RJ Davis from North Carolina, he'd be like, no, stop.
But RJ, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know who it was. I saw the clip, but I didn't look closely enough. But it wasn't like 10 big dudes run him over. It was like, you know, 1 or 2 people made him lose his balance, he did a spin, caught him off guard. I'm saying that's what clipped him. So, like, my thing is, I'm not blaming the kid. You got to better protect yourself. But you know this is happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess he was just kind of like just willy-nilly, like, trying to walk through it.
He wasn't locked in.
You're not locked in, bro. We're in New York, bro. You know, you're on the corner. You see something fishy happening. You keeping your head on a swivel. You in the game. You see people running. Let me get the fuck. Oh shit, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when we come out for warm-ups, we come out for warm-ups. We see it's the dangerous place out there. Even if you're courtside, you know the ball could hit you. You come out for warm-ups. People. The cheerleading team, they have the flag. That shit is dangerous. I've gotten hit in the head with the flag before. When people run out with the flags, like that's so you got to make sure, you know what I'm saying? You see people coming. End of the game, if you know you're a top team, you got to keep your head on a swivel. Not saying that's his fault. They do need to, you know, manage it a little better. But come on, he's 6 center. He's 7 foot. Like, yo, you better. If they coming in there crazy. This your chance to give a fan a little elbow and get away with one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's true.
You could forearm shiver somebody, get him out the way. Listen, don't run up on me. You know what I'm saying? So. But he said reflexes, maybe he's a bigger guy. So, I mean, I would say the same thing. RJ Davis, what the hell are you doing in there? Why the fuck are you? Why are you in the middle of the crowd? Like, get out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like, move, run. Is that a girl? Is that a girl running you over? Bro, come on.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? You're a D1 athlete, damn near professional athlete. You got to be able to take hits or be ready for it because he just wasn't ready. His mind was just like, we lost. And he's like, he's trying to be passive. I bet you he ain't going to be passive next time. He's going to be walking through there like he's, you know what I'm saying?
He'll be walking out like this, ready to go.
Yeah, he's going to be ready to, he's going to have a good balance, good base. But yeah, man, you got to
get up out of there. Got to get up out of there.
You're a top team. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so it's all for the games. Obviously, we hope he recovers well, but
yeah, I hope so too.
Stay
locked in, bro. Stay locked in. Where's he from? I mean, that just shows you he's not. I wonder where he's from.
We gotta.
You've never been in no hostile situations. We gotta look up to see where he's from.
Yeah,
because a hostile situation, get your back to the wall, find out where he's going, drop, roll. You know what I'm saying? Like tuck. You got to know some of these things. Second nature.
He's from middle. He's from what? He's in Westchester, New York, Middletown, New York.
That makes a lot.
He went to Ford. He went to Fordham Prep. He went to school in the Bronx.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable behavior from a New Yorker. Even though Westchester, we're from Long Island. I know they talk shit about Long Island, but Westchester a little bit outside of the city. But come on, son, this is unacceptable. You're in New York. You know what I'm saying? You went to Fordham Prep. What are you doing?
All right, let's not talk about college basketball anymore. Last topic here before we talk about the Western Conference, and we'll talk about a team in the Western Conference, but not how they're playing on the court, but how they are now looking. The Los Angeles Clippers have rebranded. You've probably seen it. If you haven't, all you have to do is search Twitter, Google, whatever. So they have new jerseys. They have a new logo. By the way, their logo is very similar to one of the Columbus Clippers, which is a Yankees affiliate in Columbus, Ohio. So take with that what you will. I'm a fan of the jerseys, not so much a fan of the logo, a fan of the new court and all the things that they want to do, the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. But for the most part, I think the logo could use some work. Quick thoughts on that. And then name me one team and one team only, Danny, that you think needs a rebrand.
Oh, I mean, the logo doesn't look too bad. I just looked at it now. I thought it would be worse. The original logo, the logo before this one, a little bit better. It could use a little bit of work, but I think it's fine. You know what I'm saying? That they have the cursive writing, the jerseys, they look cool. They're relocating. I don't think they're bad. There was times where teams did relocate, and at first we're like, why the hell did they go with that name?
Yep.
There was they had the Charlotte Hornets, then they went to the Bobcats, then they went to the Pelicans. Said the Pelicans at first was like, why the hell would you pick the Pelicans? You know what I'm saying? Like, out of all the animals in the world, you could choose.
It's a state bird. It was a state bird.
I get it, man. If we're in Hawaii, you're gonna choose the state fish. You know what I'm saying? Like the bakapu, whatever the. You know what I'm saying? The Hawaiian, like, just because it's the state thing doesn't mean you need to do it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So, so there's certain time, but teams that need a rebrand. I'm trying to think that who has.
I'll give you my candidate. I'll give you two candidates. I ain't gonna spend too long on it. Number one, the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets have had many iterations of this team since they have come to Brooklyn. The whole black and white thing, it was a thing for a while. It was, and it kind of caught some of the New York City attention. But unfortunately for the Brooklyn Nets, they have lost a lot of luster in New York. Not just because the Knicks are good, but because they also lost the combination of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. They are struggling from a branding standpoint, and they also don't have a lot of rookies on their roster that they have drafted. So it's very hard for the Brooklyn Nets fans to actually latch on to players that they can root for through their development. I think they need to throw it all the way over, start over again, and really start to, and not just from the branding, how it looks, but also restart this roster. And that starts with trading away Mikal Bridges and getting a lot of draft picks for him, which you can, because he's a very good player, and really restarting this thing and trying to really build up a fan base that can be sustained and not just a flash in the pan, which is what they had, which is why they are where they are now, where they're barely getting fans to cheer for them in their own arena, and their local TV ratings are down, down, down. It's not a good look, particularly when you see the team in the city that you're playing in rising on the other side. That's my team number one. And team number two, and I'll be quick with this, a lot quicker, the Spurs. We are finally on to a new era that we know is going to be sustained for a while, because I don't imagine Victor Wembanyama leaving anytime soon. It was great to have the branding through the Tim Duncan era and while you were there, but this is clearly starting a new era of Spurs basketball. Now, some people would say they're almost a dynasty franchise, and you can't touch their branding. But I do think as we move into a new era, and we have a guy like Wemby, I think it's time to really start to usher in a new brand of the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not saying go crazy, don't fully go away from it, but like let's make it a little bit more punchy, a little bit more flashy, and really move on with the times.
I think Brooklyn could use a rebranding for sure. Spurs are just too historical to change. They said the historical teams are hard for me to rebrand because they mean so much. So Brooklyn, I like that they did the Biggie collab. They did some with Coogee. Like, they had different colors in it. The black and white is okay. For me, the two teams, they tried, and I think it was dope. I thought the Biggie thing was dope. The whole New York, Brooklyn way. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z integration. The two teams for me, Charlotte Hornets, I think needs a rebranding all around. They need a lot of doing over. Obviously getting pieces of the talent. Obviously, Coach Clifford talked about how they just don't have the talent to compete with teams. But the purple, I think, is just too much. Obviously, the bright blue is okay, but the blue and the purple, like I said, sometimes it just looks kind of crazy. Color scheme, I think they could change it up a little bit and go back to something better or change to something newer. The other team,
not so bright, maybe a little bit more.
That's what it is. It's too bright. A little bit more chiller. There's other teals that are a little chiller, calmer. There's other purples that you could mix it up, make it a little bit better. You can add some blacks in there, maybe a black and teal or a black and purple. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, get it.
Like, add it to balance it a little bit. When you have both bright ass colors, it's crazy. But they need to rebrand that. My number one team is the Washington Wizards. Being in the state capital, like, you guys got to be better. Just all around, got to be better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The whole rebranding, I said, of the group, the team, the organization, and they can make something more spark when it comes to, America's capital. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be some type of Captain America type jerseys. You know what I'm saying? Something like that with the star. They have decent, but they could make it a little bit more, have a little more spark to it.
I feel like I feel what you're saying, but I also feel like they're kind of stuck, right? Like, if you're a team that plays in Washington, D.C., you have to have red, white, and blue. Like,
which is fine, but you could make it fire. You could make red, white, and blue a fire thing if you have the right jerseys and the right skin. Shit, Philly's red, white, and blue. There's a lot of teams that are red, white, and blue. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but I feel like I don't even know where the Wizards thing came from, but like, Actually, you know what? Yeah, they were the Wizards.
Yeah,
Remember the way they were the Wizards before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Wizards before they had the other ones where Jordan was wearing. Those jerseys weren't bad.
Yeah, those were nice. I like those.
Those are solid. But you can do those. You can do Blur and Blue differently. You can add some stars differently. You know what I'm saying? It's America's capital. We gotta, as the capital, and have the team in that city. Like you have to be one of the top tier. At least looking top tier. You know what I'm saying?
It's gotta be
if you're not gonna play better, at least look like, all right, this is the capital of the country.
I will say this right now, and I was having a conversation with one of my homies at Madison Square Garden tonight as we were watching the Pistons, and there are some things about the Pistons that are somewhat impressive, whether it be Cade Cunningham, who's got some real good game to him, Jaden Ivey shows some sparks, Jalen Duren, the big man, he could be somebody, particularly because he's so damn young.
He is somebody,
and he's strong as hell. He might have a little future with him. So they got some pieces going on. So as bad and as negative as the attention that they have gotten this year, particularly for that losing streak, they got something going on, bruh. As I was telling my friend, I think nobody has it worse than the Washington Wizards. They got a terrible contract in Jordan Poole, who's now coming off the bench. Their record is trash. I don't think they have anybody that they even drafted on the roster that really makes you feel like this could be the next guy. And the only positive player that I think only valuable player they have on their roster, in my opinion, at least right now, that's worth anything, is Kyle Kuzma. And Kyle Kuzma is at best the third best player on the championship team. So
yeah, and then they have what's the name?
He's got this.
What's the European?
They got Denny Advia.
Advia. I think I like his game. I like his game. Him and Kuz are solid. When they got rid of Gafford, that was tough. You know what I'm saying? Did they even replace who they replaced him with?
They did it. I mean, Gafford was still an undersized small center who was still getting worked by
6'10", 6'11". He's very athletic. You're talking about getting worked by the best players in the league. Joel Embiid. Yeah, the only person really.
No team is in a worse spot than the Washington Wizards. Or at the very least, the Pistons are in a better spot than the Washington Wizards are.
For sure. I agree, but I think they had people. They lost Gafford. He was another person that I thought you could build around and build off of because he's a good center and he played well against us. And he let go of Rui for I don't know what they let him go for, but they let him go for pretty cheap. I thought it was like kind of crazy. But he was a good piece you could have built around. But right now, it's just Kuz. I like Tyus. Tyus is good, but you're probably going to lose him after this year. He's not going to stay.
I wouldn't stay there if I was him.
Unless they overpaid him. So they might do that.
Then exactly. You get in the position where you're going to have to overpay just to
keep guys there.
To keep guys there that are not really building blocks. So it's they're in a tough spot. Speaking of which, there's a lot of teams in the Western Conference who are going to be in very tough spots as the season goes on. We're going to break down the hectic conference that is the Western Conference right after the break. Stay tuned right here on Inside the Green Room. Welcome back. We'll try it one more time. In 3, 2. We're back with more Inside the Green Room. He's Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. You guys can catch us in a wealth of places throughout the course of the week. Danny's been on Run It Back a number of times. You can catch me on Stadium Network. And in fact, also you can catch me on ESPN Radio this weekend, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Saturday. I'm working the night shift. And 8 p.m. to midnight on Sunday. Tap in with me. We're going to talk a lot of basketball per usual, which is what we do
late here.
Late Sunday, baby. But come on now. Getting paid to talk about basketball.
Yeah, you love the game.
Come on, man. It could be a lot worse. With that being said, we're going to break down the Western Conference right now. As it stands, Monday night, the Minnesota Timberwolves are the number 1 seed. They are tied with the Oklahoma City Thunder, with the Denver Nuggets in the 3 seed, 1.5 games back. The Clippers, 2.5 games back. Those 4 teams seem pretty locked in for the top 4 seeds. Danny, it's when you get it from 5 to really 8.
11.
That's well.
10.
For sure, but 5 to 8.
Golden State, really Lakers.
So 5 to 8, you got Kings, Suns, Pelicans, Mavericks. Those look like the teams that are going to be fighting for the last 2 spots to be in the top 6. Looking at their record, it feels like we're almost destined for a Lakers Warriors win and you're in, and if you lose that play-in game, you're out. It look like we're destined for that, which is going to be kind of wild. We'll save that for. Yeah, that's gonna be a crazy watch. The
2 teams that were in the second round last year. Yeah, it's gonna be unbelievable.
The ratings on that are gonna be nuts. But with that being said, I wanted to point out one thing with one team that could fall out of the top 6, Danny. And as of right now, I don't think this team is going to make it in the top 6 because their schedule down the stretch of the season is absolutely brutal. Shout out to Brian Windhurst.
This is crazy.
Who pointed this out on his podcast. All right. From March 27th of the season to March 27th to the end of the season, this is the Phoenix Suns schedule. At Denver, at OKC, at New Orleans, home for Cleveland, home for Minnesota, home for the Pelicans, facing the Clippers, at Sacramento, at the Timberwolves. And this is with Bradley Beal still having issues with his hamstring and really not showing any consistency in terms of being available. Danny, I know they got Royce O'Neal, but that schedule, again, Denver, at OKC.
No, Roy's holding it down. Roy's holding it down. Either way,
Cleveland,
those teams are good teams, right? But they also have issues as well. They have some injuries, and they don't play on any given night.
There's no layups, Danny. There's not one layup in that. And there's not one layup. There's no Pistons there, bro.
It's preparing you for the playoffs.
There's no Hawks there.
If I'm Phoenix, I'm loving it because this is preparing me for the playoffs in the late months of the season. You want these games that are meaningful. This is a test to see how well we can do without Brad, with Brad if he comes back, how well we can execute against the top teams in the league. What better time to have the challenge than at the end of the season? So, yeah, I'm looking at my chops. Obviously, they could fall out top 6. I don't see that happening. They have too much talent. They have great coaching over there. And even said with other teams, these other teams ain't going to be playing their best basketball. Some of the teams are going to flop. So, my thing is, even if they stay 500 for those games, they still end up in the top 6 if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong. Is that correct?
Yeah, they can, but
well, I see them being a Minnesota. I see them beating a Cleveland. I see them beating Denver maybe once. Did they play Denver twice or no?
They played in that stretch of games. They played Denver once. They're at Denver.
Who they play twice?
They played the Clippers twice in a home and home, and they played the Pelicans twice in a home and home.
Yeah, they could probably beat both those teams at least once, if not twice. I could see them getting New Orleans twice. They could probably beat New Orleans twice. They could probably get the Clippers at least once. They could win 500 or if not more than those games. How many games did you list off? 8 or 9?
Bruh, that was okay. Hold on, one more. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the final 10 games of the season, my friend.
They could win. I think they could win 5.
They go 5 and 5, 4 and 6. It's a tough. Either way, it's a tough way to end the season.
For sure.
They could very well be outside of the top 6.
I'm loving it. They're preparing me for the playoffs. I wouldn't want any other way.
Okay, fair enough.
Playing end of the season, your last 10 games, you're playing Detroit, Washington, Memphis. These games ain't getting your guys ready for that type of, type of play. You're playing teams that are, waiting for the lottery, waiting for the end of the season, just ready to go home. You playing the Spurs. These teams, young and up and coming, but they're not in the playoffs, and they're not going to prepare you. Obviously, some of these teams could give you a night that it's like, all right, let's get prepared. They give us, it's like Detroit tonight, played the New York Knicks. They gave some playoff type basketball. End of the game, it's a tight knit game. But those other teams I mentioned, most of the time that you're not going to be in that type of atmosphere, especially the last 10 games. They're probably resting guys. The guys are just chilling, trying to get their numbers. You want the teams that are playing for something, meaningful games that prepare you. And you said it sucks that you can't rest anybody because you might drop out of what's the name. But I said you'll get a little rest before the playoffs, which is enough. And playoffs is a series. You get rest within the playoffs. You get a couple days in between games. They'll be all right. Guys could play 40-something minutes. That's what they pay you for, playing those high minutes in those playoff games.
Okay, fair enough. I guess that's a positive way to look at it. I saw that. I'm like, oh, it might be Rap City for those guys. But I understand your viewpoint there.
I still see them in the top 6.
Okay, let's do a couple of superlatives here. If let's say you have the Suns in your top 6. Let's exclude them from the conversation. So let's say you have Timberwolves, OKC, Denver, and the Clippers. We're pretty confident they're going to be in the top 6. And let's for the sake of this argument or discussion, we'll put Phoenix in the top 6. Name me the one team that can pull off what the Lakers did last year, from play-in to Western Conference Finals. Your options: the Kings, the Pelicans, Mavericks, Lakers, or the Warriors. The one team that can go from play-in to Western Conference Finals, who would you put your money on?
I would go either Dallas or Sacramento.
Nah, you could pick one, brother. That's it. That's not how the game's played.
I don't see the Lakers doing it this year. I don't see the Warriors doing it this year. I think Sacramento has a decent chance. Who was the other besides Dallas?
Pelicans.
Pelicans not doing it. Western Conference Finals, no. So I'm gonna go with Dallas. I think Luka, Kyrie, they have the weapons picking up PJ Washington if he gets hot. You got Gafford coming off the bench, Lively. These young guys, these Luka, of course, with Luka, you can't count him out. What he did to the Suns a couple of years ago, you know what he's capable of doing. You know what Kyrie's capable of doing. Those two guys are so dangerous. In a 7-game series, they can make it happen. They can beat certain teams 4 games. If they're healthy, they stay healthy, and they got those other guys still healthy with Lively doing his role, Gafford and PJ Washington doing their roles, and they got Tim Hardaway off the bench. We know he's done in the playoffs and how he's played well.
Josh Green on the wings.
Josh Green, young guys, but the guys that have proven have done some stuff in the playoffs, I can definitely count on. So I could see Dallas being that team. They've been there. At J Kidd, he knows what he's doing as a coaching staff. So I could see them making a push.
Yeah, I like that pick as well. And the one thing that I've really grown to admire about Luka Doncic's game is any game that he is playing in, any game against any opponent, it is played at his pace. I find that fascinating, and obviously you've guarded him before a multitude of times. Can you kind of explain, one, how difficult it is to always be in control of the pace of the game and how he does it, and what impact that has had on you as a defender and your teams that you've been playing on against him?
It's extremely hard. There's a few guys that do it. Obviously, say Jalen Brunson does it at his own pace. Donovan Mitchell. There's a couple guys I've seen, but it's extremely hard because not everybody is successful at doing it, and people will find ways to speed you up. And if you're not really successful at it, you're gonna have to change it up. Because he's so good at it and he's so crafty at it, he doesn't have to change a thing, and people adjust to him around it. And they said they're able to win games. They're able to win playoff games with him playing at that pace. So guarding it is a pain in the ass because you're trying to speed him up. He's just not going to do that. He's going to take his time, pick you apart, and he's going to draw fouls. He knows how to use his body well. You try to speed him up, he's going to use it against you and probably get you in foul trouble, get you on the bench. So watching it, at times you're like, damn, how is he doing it? He's making it look so easy. It's frustrating sometimes, even watch as a fan because you're like, it's a slow game. But as a defender, it's frustrating as hell trying to guard it. And as a player doing it, playing at your own pace, it's hard to get in that type of zone.
How is he so good at it?
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to get in that type of zone. And usually you're in a zone when the game slows down for you. You usually make your first basket, then you'll slow down. You just, everybody's kind of nervous, butterflies. When you have the keys to the city, it's a little different, but you got to earn those keys. So he got the keys pretty early. They gave him a chance. He got the ball in his hands. He does what he does, and everybody said adapts around it. But it usually makes it easier as you're making shots. As the game goes on, the game will slow down for you, and you can slow the game down. When you have the ball in your hands, you dictate everything. And when you're been doing it for so long, he usually gets the first basket. He gets that first basket. It's like, all right, cool. And the next couple baskets, we get a free throw. Most superstars, the reason why they're so good because they slow the game down all the time or at a quicker pace than most people. Also because they have more opportunity. They have to earn that opportunity to get that type of green light and get the ball in the hand. You see Joel, he moves at his pace. Giannis, Dame, Steph, you ain't going to speed LeBron.
But even a guy like Joel Embiid, I've seen him get sped up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's some double teams. You see some double teams that happen. It's also because it's easier to double team.
Even if you double team him.
It's easier to double team him in the post than it is on the perimeter. Yeah. Luka can pass the ball out. He can pick you apart with the pieces you have. That high up in the court, he can just view quarterback and look. When you're in the post, it's a little harder to quarterback. So, and he also has people he can trust around him. I can find the guy in the middle. I can find the guy in the wing. I find Kyrie or Lively, who's in a quarterback in the middle, and we have shooters around me. So you got to pick your poison. And he's good at throwing lobs. He's so good of a passer too. Jokic, he's another guy that plays at his own pace. They play very slow and don't speed up because of how good they are at scoring, but also how great they are at passing the ball. They don't let you. They're great at passing the ball because they don't let you speed them up. They take the time. Doubles come in. Okay, Jokic 7 feet, so nobody's gonna really. I can see over people. Luka's a little different, but him to be able to put the ball on a rope at any given moment, it makes him that much more dangerous, and it makes it easier for him to slow the game down. He doesn't panic.
Yeah, he's incredible. Yeah, he's incredible. I continue to marvel. I think as I've gotten smarter watching basketball, a guy like him, I continue to just be, frankly, just amazed by and really like watching his game, even though it's not the most athletic. His level of skill and IQ is otherworldly.
We're taking it for granted because it said he does it so often.
Yeah.
And his numbers are so crazy. We're just, Luka's number. But, to have average 30, 33, 40, you know what I'm saying, 40 nights, triple doubles, 40 points. Him and Jokic, they do it so often. You're like, it's kind of crazy that people aren't impressed by it as much as they should. Like somebody else does it. Like, oh, shit, he had a great night. Fucking Jalen Brunson's killing, you know what I'm saying? Darren Fox, yo. But when these guys do it, it's like, oh, he does this shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
but which is crazier. Doing night in, night out is unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go with another superlative in the Western Conference. There's a lot of talented teams, and there are going to be some teams that are just frankly going to lose maybe in the first round. And while by the seeding standpoint, it might look crazy, but when you look at the actual talent on the court, you'll be like, well, it makes sense. Name the one team and one team only that you would not be surprised loses in the first round, and let's keep it to the teams that are in the top 6. So we're talking Minnesota, OKC, Denver, Clippers, and for the sake of this discussion, the Phoenix Suns. Which one of those teams would not shock you at all if they lose in the first round?
I think nobody would be shocked if OKC or Minnesota lost in the first round.
Got to pick one though.
I'm gonna go with OKC because their first time being there in so long. Minnesota has been in the playoffs. They had a couple playing games. They have guys with more veteran leadership. They have some more veterans there. OKC, they're so young. Being at the top, they're going to be welcomed with a Laker team or a Golden State. You know what I'm saying? The team they have no business playing in the first round, being a number 2 seed, even though they have home court advantage, I could see that happening. If I had to pick any one of those teams in the Western Conference that are in the top 4, you saying?
Yeah, in the top 4.
Yeah, I'm going to go with OKC just because they're the youngest group there.
Yeah, nobody's
expecting much out of them. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a win-win for them. They have nothing to lose. They should go on firing because nobody expects them to get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, bro, like they go into, as of right now, Dallas is the 8th seed. They go into that series. Let's say they win the playing game and they end up playing OKC. Bro, Luka taking on Shea is going to be fascinating, but like. Luka's experience in the playoffs, Kyrie's experience in the playoffs. They won't pound OKC with size, which is I think how you really take advantage of it. But
like Lively Gafford, Chet is not going to be able to, Lively and Gafford, they're going to be, as much as you think they get worked, or Gafford gets worked in the Eastern Conference, that Western Conference, he's going to outwork their bigs. They have no rebounding, they have no real bigs in there. So he's going to work them. They have Gordon Hayward who would help them, but to big-wise, center-wise, there's nobody there that can. And they got guys that can guard Chet on the perimeter. They got PJ, Lively can guard. Those guys, Gafford, they can guard on the perimeter, Chet on the perimeter or something. And they can bully him down low with the rebounding and putbacks and also posts and guarding. You know what I'm saying? So it's a mismatch for them inside for sure.
And even if, let's say, a team like the Pelicans ends up playing OKC, like you got JV on the inside, who's a girthy center for Chet Holmgren. He's gonna then you have Zion rim attacking. You have a guy like Brandon Ingram who could be a number 1 scorer. You have guys like Herb Jones who might be able to guard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Trey Murphy III. Like as great as OKC has been, they're going to be. There's no easy series, particularly for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Or in the West Coast. In the Western Conference, there's no easy series in the Western Conference. But they didn't fix it. You brought up their rebounding issues. They never fixed their issue from the trade deadline. They didn't fix it. So that's going to hurt them tremendously in the playoffs. And playoffs, it's all about defensive rebounds. The team that executes the defense on the floor, the game slows down. Everybody knows everyone's plays. People are going to score. But who's going to do the little things, the 50-50s? Who's going to get the stops? Who's going to get the rebounds? That's going to play a huge part. And if you can't do that against the New Orleans, against the Lakers, maybe the Warriors, they can, because the Warriors don't have a bunch of big presence except for Looney, who does well. But the other teams that you're talking about facing, Dallas, they have enough, front court to bully whoever they need. To bully OKC anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And the last one, we'll make this one quick because I think I know your answer. Who wins the West, regardless of seeding, regardless of how it all pans out? Who wins?
Who gets to the finals?
Who gets to the finals out of the West?
I think it was going to be Denver again, honestly.
Why you say that so? Like we say like with this with a big sigh?
Because I said I don't like to see the same teams in the fight. You know what I'm saying? I want to see different teams make it there. I want to see somebody else come and give them a fight. I think teams will give them a fight. I think they'll be there. Depending on who comes out of the East, I do want to see a new winner. I think this is Boston's year if they do what they're supposed to do. Because I don't think Denver has the depth they had last year. But Denver right now is just the best team. When they're clicking, they have the experience. If they're healthy, I don't see anybody beating them. Even the team that comes out of the East, I think it's a Jamal Murray, Jokic, that combo, the MPJ, Aaron Gordon, KCP, off the bench, Reggie and DeAndre playing pretty well certain games. And then you have Christian Brown, the kid Watson. They have a decent group. It's not as strong as last year's group, but they have enough with their starting five. And so in the playoffs, you can play those guys 40 minutes. So,
yeah. I would love if Denver makes it out of the Western Conference, I will give them and especially Nikola Jokic all of his flowers. What I want, I'm just like you. I want to see new blood almost every year in the finals, unless it's like a really good rivalry. With that being said, the basketball fan in me wants Jokic to get, if he gets through to the finals, NBA finals again. I want to make sure, or at least see that he does it by going through the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because of Gobert being the defensive player of the year, heavy favorite to get it done.
Cat and Gobert, I want to see those two.
If Jokic gets through them with now their elevated play, and obviously Anthony Edwards is taking a level up, and obviously we hope that Nas Reed and Jalen McDaniels are actually available for this time around, like they weren't last year. And I think maybe the series could have been different if they were available last year. If he gets through them and gets back to the finals, I will give him, I mean, he already deserves all the flowers. I will give him even more. You really want to see greatness challenged. And I think for Jokic personally for Jokic, that's probably his biggest personal challenge.
For sure. But he has so much help, and the other facets don't match up with the rest of the group. With Jamal Murray, Anthony Edwards is going to be able to do so much. Mike Conley, slow-mo, they don't have enough to stop MPJ, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray. Yeah, Jokic may get stopped or have a challenge, but those other guys, said KCP, it's hard for him to do it by himself, to stop all those guys that are hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would be one of those series. I think it would be one of those series where Jamal Murray would have to be on Jamal Murray time, or MPJ would have to be like on top of his game.
They could be on their time. They don't have to be crazy.
Like 30-point triple doubles against Gobert.
No, he'll get triple doubles. It'll be maybe 20-point triple doubles, but he will, because he'll be passing. Aaron Gordon's gonna get backdoor dunks, so he got him there. Lobs, rebound. He's gonna get rebounds. He's gonna get putbacks. He's gonna do all the little stuff. Maybe a 3 or 2. MPJ 6'11" shooter. You're not stopping that. Who's guarding him? Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, maybe slow-mo. Okay, yeah. That might a little bit. All he have to do is get his average 12, 15. Jamal Murray averages 20. They don't have to be nothing crazy. They can average. They score enough. And said, Minnesota don't have enough scoring either. To you know what I'm saying? Like, Cat can score, and Edwards can score. Yeah. Gobert not scoring much. Mike Conley's not scoring the way he used to. Off the bench, you don't have the same. You know what I'm saying? And they're lacking some shooting, I think, as well. But they have decent scoring, but they don't have a great group of scoring over there in Minnesota. So it's just a tough matchup. So they don't have to be on crazy Jamal Murray time or MPJ time until they start playing the teams that can score a bunch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I understand your analysis there. I personally cannot wait for the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think the stretch run of this NBA season is going to be a lot of fun as well. As was this pod. We're about to get up out of here, but update for you guys. We are upping our cadence now to 2 times a week. So as you listen to this on Tuesday, best believe you'll be able to listen to another new episode on Thursday. So we'll see you guys then. Up until that point, read, rate, subscribe, review, all those good things.
Subscribe, review. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed. We'll see you guys next time. Holla.
Peace.